Singapore is mostly just one big city. It's really cool. It's very safe. You can hang out. There's a lot of great nightlife places, which I was definitely too young to partake in when I was there. But it's a very cool place to visit, and almost everybody speaks English, Chinese, Tamil, Malay. They speak a bunch of different languages, so it's a very good place for foreigners to visit. Definitely recommend it. Very clean, very nice, but it's hot and humid all year round. So,
ooh, is that a dragon not banned that I see? Sorry to cut you off, Rennie. I didn't mean to do that, but
yeah, that is a dragon not banned. So we're seeing this happen again. It's not an auto ban. We expected it to be an auto ban across the entire basically tournament, but Pain is like, you know what? I think my aggro decks are super good against dragons.
I would imagine that Pain's plan here against not banning dragon is he thinks that his decks are faster than this dragon deck is, so that's what I'm guessing the plan is.
Quite honestly, maybe he was just afraid of Haven in general, just because he knows that playing against Haven they have wards and heals, and like that can really gum up super like hyper aggro decks like he's running. Also, Symphonus has kind of like this weak card in the fact that he's running D-Shift against an entirely aggro lineup, so he's not going to have a good matchup with his D-Shift deck.
That's true, yeah. That's a hellish matchup. That is very hard to beat, so.
Yep. Now we're going to see if
this
aggro
though,
deck...
Pain's not got an amazing start right now.
Right.
It's got like a average start.
Average start. Now, Wood of Brambles, of course, coming in to do a lot of work here. We'll be able to trade for free. I believe that will be the play. And basically allow all of his 1/1s to trade up, even on defense. So, very good card here.
Oh yeah, Bramble's getting great value there.
That's right, but as we know, as good a value as it's getting, that Staircase is getting ever closer to popping.
Yeah, once Staircase pops, it's kind of like all the card advantage you thought you had is gone.
Now, the really cool interaction that you don't really see in a lot of the Forest decks now is Wood of Brambles maybe enticing your opponent not to trade as much, and then FMR getting even more value, because all of those weenies essentially stay in play. All of your little 1/1s. So, but Symphonus, of course, doing what he does best and playing well and trading and not opting to take extra damage here.
And I also like playing the Siegfried instead of the Prime Dragon Keeper. Not only because Pain could have just evolved over the Prime Dragon Keeper, but Siegfried's not a card. I don't think you're really going to get much value out of Siegfried when your opponent's playing a lot of low defense followers anyway.
Right.
So.
Right, especially if they have cards like Ephemera, there's no real way to target it. You're really just going to be evoing for most of your removal here.
Ooh, and Iella.
That was a great draw. He can actually evo that Iella to ramp into 7 next turn. Didn't have that option before. So very good play
also,
here.
he just popped Staircase too, so he's drawing a lot of cards. So that's actually an amazing top deck, yeah.
Gets the punch for 3 as well this turn. And then FMR is just going to kind of be sitting there by herself. Of course, we see Beetle Warrior. Elf Song, a little bit too slow to the party this time to get maximum value, but can still be good.
It does still act as like kind of a really bad Fairy Circle, so.
Yes it does. Now, pumping FMRs for late game damage is nothing to snuff at either. Randomly getting extra +1/+1s if you can.
This is a very interesting Roach play into Barrage.
I
like it above Ephemera anyway. Ooh, it goes for Roach again. Wow, okay.
Okay, I like this. Yeah, you don't have the bounce left in hand, so get the damage in. Might even attack with Ephemera here.
Maybe.
No?
Okay. I think I like not attacking with Ephemera.
The only reason I don't is because it's turn 7, PDK is about to become active. There's a high probability that FMR will die. Evoed PDK into 2 followers type of thing. So losing 1 damage there might be big.
Yeah, it's possible. Yeah, Ephemera had a high chance of dying there. Also, not to mention Pain's Hand is kind of clunky with double Elf Song at the moment, so...
Right.
And this Dragon Tamer is actually pretty solid because it buffs... buffs back to a 4/5.
Makes
That's a
it very
big
hard
Prime
to
Dragon Keeper. Yeah.
Yes, it is. So this is a big, like these are the last 2 turns Pain has really. He's got to win with this attack plus his next attack, and he doesn't really have a great way to do that. Unfortunately, has to play Elf Song before he plays Beetle Warrior, so Beetle Warrior won't get the pump from that.
He does still have an Evolve, though, and he can hit the second one with Elf, so...
Right. That's right. So, yeah, so Elf Song, Beetle Warrior, or Fairy, rather, not Elf. And then Evo. Evo does 5, and then he'll need to come up with 3 damage.
No, wait, he actually can't bounce at this turn. Never mind.
No,
he can't do
no
that.
bounce.
Yeah.
Everything in his hand costs just a little bit too much. He might be thinking about that, and maybe he just floods with a couple Elf Songs so he can get cheap spells into his hand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No,
Sees it as too tempting. I like this play because this is kind of like a high risk, high reward. If I draw something that I can win with, be it Roach, be it Beetle Warrior, I think I need to take the chance now because I don't know if I'm going to have another turn after next one. Especially if a
That's
Forte
true,
comes down or, you know,
that
anything crazy.
This also does kind of set up like the precedent that the board has to be cleared. Like that 5/6 literally can't hit you again or you die. So.
Right. Yeah. Have to deal with that. Probably won't have too much trouble doing it though. Basically, has many ways to do it. It does mean that Forte might not be the play this turn though, which could give Pain an extra turn. But we'll see. Yeah, Fire Lizard doing it. Oh. I don't like that target with Fire Lizard though.
He might throw the 1/2 in.
It's an interesting play. Has to use up damage to do it. Probably not a huge deal in the long run, but probably could have optimized that attack a little bit better.
Right.
And the Fire Lizard. Still won't really have any problems killing this if he wants to, though.
Second PDK. He's definitely throwing something into this. Yeah, the 1/2. Okay.
This works too.
So this definitely sets up a lot of damage, obviously.
Yep.
He did make it where he can't play...
Yeah, exactly.
Can't play anything, so it doesn't matter
though, because he does have lethal on board. So this is the
PDK
turn. He's got to draw.
And that's not anything. Yeah. The instant surrender. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Ooh. The funny thing is if Hyperia came out the turn before with the Beetle Warrior on the following turn, that could have been a victory. A very easy victory, actually. But, of course, we know PDKs can deal with Hyperias. But very interesting kind of like ebb and flow to that game. Like, very close. Pain was definitely not out of that. Had a ton of cards he could have drawn off the top to win that game.
And I like the way Pain played that. He played that to win, right? He didn't play that to try and get the board back from a PDK, since you kind of can't do that anyway with that kind of deck. So you just kind of had to go for it. The biggest part of your deck is Hyperia. Other than Hyperia, everything else in your deck is 1/1s, maybe 2/2s, and that's about it. Right. Mm-hmm.
Board control is not aggro forest mainstay by any means.
By any means at all.
But
in fact,
saying that,
you get rid of all of that.
Right, yeah, you literally get rid of all of it. Saying that, Symphonus now goes into the matchup that we were talking about, where D-Shift is a real deck that has to beat 2 different aggro decks here. So
yeah, that's true. Yep. It's also entirely possible that Pain just tried to snipe the D-Shift. You know, like he just chose to. I'm gonna lose to PDK, but I'm gonna get to bully D-Shift for 2 games. Like that might be his plan. So
right. And that'll honestly be my plan too. I think I would have still banned PDK because I think it does better against the aggressive styles. I think aggro can still push through Haven. And PDK is just a really rough matchup. But D-Shift does have an okay game against Aggro Forest in just the fact that Aggro Forest plays a lot of the 1/1s, right? And D-Shift actually has ways to deal with 1/1s. Even if you flood the board with them, you can still, Magic Missile this or Wind Blast that, like, very easily without expending too many resources. So, D-Shift not at its worst against Aggro Forest.
Mm-hmm. He's also playing Angelic Snipe, so he has that as well.
D-Shift is a really interesting deck just because of all the... I mean, it feels like it has certain protections against different types of aggressive decks, but other types it kind of crumbles. What do you think is kind of your identification of what is aggressive but not good at fighting against Dimensional Shift, and what is aggressive but is good at fighting against Dimensional Shift? Where does that difference lie?
Well, Storm, obviously.
Yeah.
Storm and then secondarily
like Magic Illusionist or Manu, would be two.
Yeah,
big
Magic
standouts.
Illusionist, Mainu, White Tiger is really good against D-Shift. Basically anything that can't be targeted, that they have to actually evo into, because it might make them slow down, it might make them use a resource they don't the way they don't want to, and then high toughness. If you can put really high toughness followers out there earlier, like something like PDK on turn 3 against D-Shift isn't really that bad, because they don't really have a way to deal 5 damage to it that early. So the more toughness, the more resilient. Elf Girl Liza, you know what I mean? Things like that from Forest can really help you against D-Shift and just push you on those turns that you need to push.
Or Atomy.
Well, yeah, if Atomy
Turn
comes
3
down
Atomy.
on turn 3, yeah.
Yeah.
Atomy
Yeah,
would
we've
be
talked about that.
would be a really good one. 8-8 on turn 3.
Yeah, that's a lot of toughness. And we talked about that the last time we saw the matchup, right? Only Fiery Embrace with the perfect set of circumstances, and that's not mulling Fiery Embrace and sort caching it just to kill the Atomy early.
Yep.
Is rough.
And there's the interesting thing about turn 3 is there's no possible way that an evolution orb will play into that scenario as well.
Right.
Because
Right.
going first, going second, nobody gets an evil point that early on. So, and just to put that in perspective too, that one game we saw the perfect curve on aggro sword, and 8-8 Atomy still isn't even as much damage as that perfect curve.
Yeah,
You know, they're doing 9 damage on turn 3.
That's true.
That was insane.
Yeah, put in perspective how crazy 9 damage is on turn 3. That's. I think one of the things that you notice first when you start playing Shadowverse is just how much damage cards do in comparison to the 20 health that you have. Because I think people will get very surprised about that. Kind of 1 damage, 2 damage, 3 damage starts to get already quite significant when you have a 20 health.
Well, it's why Quickblader's so good, right? Like, Quickblader, very unassuming. It's just a one-play .11, but it gets in more damage than every other one-drop, right? And then you couple that with Princess Vanguard or Palace Fencer, and then it's just an absurd amount of damage from your first turn on. Like, it's crazy.
So, what do you guys think? Actually, just as kind of a query to you guys, what do you think about kind of overhealing? Because in Shadowverse, you can't actually go beyond 20 health. You have to use mitigation or, pseudo health pool by way of ward or something like that. What do you think that overhealing past a certain degree would get out of hand? Do you think that would actually empower some of these decks that rely on healing? Or do you think it's kind of a non-factor?
It'd have to be capped.
Yeah. Yeah,
For
I don't
sure.
think it's a non-factor by any means. I think that if you actually lift the life gain kind of restriction from the game, a lot of decks wouldn't be able to function anymore. Like, Aggro Sword seems really good, but it's really good at dealing 20 damage, maybe up to 23, 4 damage. But, like, say for instance, you could overheal early, and you could just heal from the start of the game. They might not actually be able to push enough damage over the course of a game.
Right, like a turn 2 monostatic healing water or rabbit healer or something, putting me at 22 instead of wasting his heal would be huge. So
Right. Like, the decks, I believe, or the cards are designed in such a way that they can deal an X amount of damage by turn X. And if you kind of, like, change that paradigm, then I think you'd have to change the actual physical structure of the aggressive cards in the game.
which you could do, but you can't do in this game.
Nope, not this game. At least not yet. They might in future
Not
sets.
yet.
Once they revamp some cards, they could decide to change the rules. But
This game specifically, as May comes down to help him clear this this clay golem.
yes.
Yes, this game, not this game.
yes,
Actually,
yes,
wow,
yes,
he's
yes,
actually just gonna go face. Okay, I like that. D-Shift has no healing, so you might as well get it in.
Nope. Always get the damage in. Obviously, try to prep for the biggest elf song you can, as always. Maybe there's this chance that your opponent doesn't clear something.
Draws a Conjure Golem, but he can't evolve next turn, so this is a...
This might just be like a little Roach Nature's Guidance play. He might want to save the Nature's Guidance for Elf Song, though, so... It's
Yeah, I
weird.
imagine.
Ephemera and Elf Song kind of weird to play in the same deck, right? Because both of them really turn on turn 4. So you kind of just have to pick and choose, but it does give you up to like 6 copies of that type of effect, which is kind of cool.
That's true, that's true. Unfortunate for, ooh, okay, so the Kaleidoscopic Glow, he was pretty good. He removes damage off the board. I was going to say unfortunate for Symphonus. He's not drawing anything that's good against this.
Yeah. Kaleidoscopic Glow into a Conjure Golem, not a bad turn here. Without the Kaleidoscopic Glow, he might
Goes
have...
to the Fate's Hand instead, and he finds Snipe, which is good. That's great.
I don't like the Fate's Hand here over the Conjure. I think Conjure would help him board clear a lot easier. because next turn
Conjurer
he's probably
would
just going to play
likely get evolved over, but I do agree that's better than getting evolved into, which is going to happen now, so...
Interesting play. Like, essentially, if the Golem was here, or the Clay Golem was here, and not the extra cards, you could clear off that Elfchild May, you could evolve Merlin with impunity. Realistically, you have the Angelic Snipe, but that could have gone face for maybe a faster clear, so just different options.
Well, I think he is still just gonna go. He's gonna get the clear outside of Ephemera.
Yeah.
So.
A revelation.
Yep, Angelic Snipe, great with Merlin on turn 5. Max out your hand size, get 2 cards, spell boost them with Merlin, spell boost them with the Angelic Snipe. This is like the dream turn 5 for D-Shift here. Not the dream turn 5 to look, to stare down across, though.
Oh no! And both of these followers have ambush. Everybody quiet, it's D-Shift hunting season.
Yeah.
He gets a warp, though. Oh my gosh.
We'll have to play it. So some shenanigans will have to come down to kill out the ward.
It's going to be a Fairy Evolve Roach lethal.
So talking about cards that are good against D-Shift, cards with ambush too is something that we glossed over, but Ephemera and Hyperia, awesome against D-Shift.
Oh
Roach,
yeah, Hyperia
great
is
against
absolutely
D-Shift.
incredible against D-Shift. And he even drew Arcbound Barrage. Oh my gosh.
Airbound, yeah. It's just unbelievable. Good game. Good night. Airbound Barrage, so fair in Force. I love it. So good.
Poor D-Shift. Oh no.
D-Shift, get out of here. That's gonna be our true
this was his
Battleless
plan,
matchup.
though. I think he wanted to snipe the D-Shift, right? Like you lose to PDK, whatever, right? Snipe this D-Shift. Bully the D-Shift twice. I think I like this plan.
Very good to actually outline that kind of a strategy in tournament play. So if you feel like your opponent has a weak point, play towards that weak point, right? And this also goes into deck construction for your 3 decks. So Pain isn't messing around. He's got 3 aggro decks, right? So if you play 3 aggro decks and you notice an opponent has a weak deck versus aggro, it doesn't really matter what gets banned on your side of the field. You just make sure that that deck is in play. Now we see a lot of players in tournaments kind of split their focus. They have aggro decks and they have control decks kind of split. So it's a lot easier to kind of, figure out what you're going to try to do. Like, for instance, if Pain had a control sword deck instead of his aggro sword deck, that might have been left in play, and his 2 aggro decks might not have been able to play against D-Shift. So it makes it a lot easier to play against. So picking a lineup and just sticking to it, whether it be all combo, or all control, or all aggro, can lend itself to really strong play in the tournament setting.
Definitely explained it perfectly. And here we go. Aggro against D-Shift again. Giant Chimera.
Ooh, here we go.
This whole
Are we
hand
going to see the spice? Oh, no.
Yeah, he's got to get rid of all of it. He can't get
Chimera, come back.
He found a Wind Blast, though. Wind Blast is actually quite good. The
Yep,
Double
Snipe.
Flame Destroyer is terrible.
That's not what you want to see in the early game. Not at all.
That is absolutely horrible.
You know what one of the biggest things about PDK is that makes me think it's just the best deck right now is because every single time you draw a hand with PDK, it doesn't look bad. It doesn't even matter what the cards are. Like, there are 2 Fortes and a PDK in hand right now, and the hand just doesn't look terrible. You're like, I've got Dragon Summoners, I've got Staircase.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, like, I don't have to do anything right now. I just have all this sweet value for later. I still have plays to make every single turn. Like, it always feels good. Like, I don't know. It's weird.
Symphonus keeping up with the bad hand draws. Top deck's a Merlin into Angelic Snipe. A little better, Angelic Snipe, but his hand is just terrible. Absolutely terrible.
And here we get to see, just like I said, PDK being played on turn 3 against D-Shift, with D-Shift not having a way to deal with this unless he expends, Angelic Snipes and Wind Blast, all just to kill a 1-powered follower right now.
Right. He sorcery cashed that Flame Destroyer, so Wind Blast is only at I think, yeah, he's gonna do that. Wow.
And this is the power of playing something like PDK on turn 3. Like, yes, you lost a PDK, but you just essentially emptied your opponent's hand on a 1-power follower when you're playing an aggro deck. It feels good.
Hear the dragons roar.
Another Ina.
I might even opted to play another PDK there. I guess it would be going into the Evo turn. So maybe you save it, but
kind of weird. Double Ina, double Forte. Completely symmetrical hand coming down from Pain.
Yep, not going to have a good turn 5 unless he top decks here. But after turn 5, this game's going to heat up. And with double Forte, double Ina, he might just have the damage out of hand to finish off his opponent. He's got the 2 damage coming in next turn from the Dragon Summoner and the Ivory Dragon. He's got 2 Evo points left over for both Fortes. So this is going to be a really hard game for Symphonus to win here.
Ooh, oh my gosh. That was actually, I do want to add, those were probably the 3 best cards he could have gotten, minus the Fiery Embrace, maybe. The Fate's Hand to find more cards in the Wind Blast to help him get rid of all these followers were cards that he definitely needed. Symphonus, I'm talking about.
Yep. Did find a play for this turn. That wasn't Prime Dragon Keeper, so very good draw there. I don't really think the Evo here is necessary. I'd rather just save him for the Fortes, the guaranteed damage, but I don't think it's going to matter either way.
I don't think it will either, but it is kind of awkward seeing as you can Kaleidoscopic Glow that follower, so...
Right. I think Kaleidoscopic Glow would more than likely go on the staircase if there was other removal. But yeah, just giving the option to take damage off the board with blows.
It'll be interesting to see if Symphonus... He did Sorcery Cache one of these Destroyers, so it'll be interesting to see if he opts to play out a Destroyer.
I would play both of them here. I would just start going ham. I don't think you can really wait. And you're presenting a board that says, I actually can win now. Which I like.
And he didn't do it, so he's applying no pressure here, really. There's no incentive for Pain not to go face again.
And not doing it here means that Forte is going to just run unopposed. I would just Forte Evo here, yep. Easy stuff. Decides not to Evo, that's also fine.
Yeah,
that's also
really,
fine.
Got him at 5. He's D-shift, he's not going to heal.
Yep. And not playing those Flame Destroyers and not being able to win this turn, I think, is actually just going to cost Symphonus the game. You got to be aware that when you're playing against a deck with Fortes and Scythers and Inas and, you know, Hippogriff Riders, like, you can't just afford to take extra turns against those decks. Not as D-shift, anyway.
Right, and even if he had done that, he would have had, well, actually, he could have probably fished into lethal, because if nothing was cleared, I doubt, you know,
right.
Given the
Well, there would have been...
Pain didn't clear anything. 19 damage was doable, so...
Exactly, and then just finding one more damage off the top, maybe likely, but definitely more of a chance than just dying here, right? So he does opt to do it this
very
turn.
Likely when you play Angelic Snipes and Magic Missile cycles itself, so yeah.
Waited that one turn, and that one turn was game.
Yeah, Symphonus had to play to win, and Pain just outstormed
Bringing it! Pain bringing it! I love it. Let's go.
Pain Train. Yeah.
That's right. Pain Train on track.
Bringing the Pain. Pain moves on to the Losers Finals, and that means Symphonus is out. And just like Derzell, he's going to have to go into next week to see if he can make it back into the season. And that's going to be quite tragic for the Season 2 competitors that were kind of